You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get to the long-term impact of Calvin Russell choosing to verbally commit to Syracuse University on Saturday night, giving Syracuse its first five-star recruit in over 2 decades. We discussed the short-term impact. Calvin Russell as an immediate day one contributor, right? And how he might be able to help in 2026 recruiting with a guy like Tadarius Hughes, his friend and teammate, potentially flipping from Florida State to Syracuse. But I think where we're really going to see the effect of Calvin Russell is in the long term. Forget him as a player for just a moment, because who knows how he's going to shape out. But in recruiting, this is really going to help 2027, 2028, and beyond that. This is where I feel like this is going to have the highest impact. Because again, class of 2026, they already have 26 guys. 2027, we'll get to it in just a moment. They only have 4. Shouldn't say only have 4, but they have 4 guys. So there's plenty of more players that they can take in the class of 2027. As Brian Smith noted on Sunday night, everyone knows who Calvin Russell is, particularly if you're from South Florida. You know Calvin Russell. You know the high school, Miami Northwestern. It's a powerhouse program. The head coach of that program is Teddy Bridgewater, former Louisville quarterback, played in the National Football League for many years. Pretty successful football guy, Teddy Bridgewater. He's the head coach at Miami Northwestern. Year in and year out, they produce elite college football players and guys who will go on and play on Sundays. So people in that area and around the country know Calvin Russell because he's one of the best players there. He's a borderline top 20 player overall in the nation, one of the 5 best players in the state of Florida in general. They know who Calvin Russell is. And why do I keep saying that? Because Calvin Russell chose Syracuse. And so now, if you're an elite player and you see someone of Calvin Russell's caliber commit to Syracuse, you got to start thinking why. Why would Calvin Russell do it? Why did he choose Syracuse over any program? Why would he do it? And because that seed is planted, because that question is planted in people's heads now, because they have to be thinking about it, it's a pretty big deal. It's not normal for Syracuse to go out and get a guy like him. It's normal for a guy. It's normal for Georgia, where Southeast programs or even big time up north programs to go into Florida and get these type of players. Ohio State goes out and gets Jeremiah Smith from South Florida a couple of years ago. Right? Syracuse, not normal. But now you got to think about them. If you were a recruit and you had an offer from Syracuse, but you never were taking them seriously, well, now you kind of have to, at least a little bit. You got to at least hear him out. Because Calvin Russell committed there. What's Calvin Russell see in Syracuse that maybe other recruits don't see? Maybe you should check it out. Or maybe you were a little bit further along. Maybe you are kind of checking out Syracuse a little bit, but you're still feeling out other offers because you're a Division I potential player, so you're going to have other offers. Now you really got to be taking them more seriously. Maybe I got to get to campus for a visit or multiple visits or speak to Fran Brown and the staff more. Because when you get a guy like Calvin Russell, it makes other players start to question, why would he come there? And should I consider them? And that effect that it could have is you can end up getting more. It becomes a domino effect. Because I don't think Calvin Russell is the last 5-star player to commit to Syracuse in the Fran Brown era. Now, as Syracuse fans, when the Orange offer an elite player, we're going to believe that Syracuse has a chance because we know that that player should probably take Syracuse seriously. You get Calvin Russell, that's a big deal. You should consider Syracuse at that point. So what's the projection now? Well, I think it's a reasonable expectation that in the class of 2027, that they finish with a top 20 class in the nation. Why not? They might finish top 20 in 2026. I expect them now to have a top 20 class in 2027 and beyond that. And the best place to be, as Rex Ryan says, the best place to be is when the expectations are high. Fran Brown and this staff have earned high expectations now in recruiting. Why not a top 20 class in 2027? Maybe even better than that. If you look at their current commits right now in 2027, they have 4 of them. It's a long time between now and signing day. But they're all pretty good recruits. Stanley Montgomery is a top 40 defensive lineman in the country. Travis Miles is a top 40 safety in the country. Tank White is a top 40 athlete in the country. And Justin Dixon is a top 50 quarterback in the country. I know that if you check 24/7 Sports, they're all 3 stars or not rated. But if you go look at where they rank positionally, these are guys who are not far off from being 4 stars. If they have good junior years, they're going to be named 4-star recruits. Make no mistake, Calvin Russell may have been the first 5-star to commit in the Fran Brown era, but I do not think he will be the last.